everyone, I'm MTS, and today I'm going to be looking at you versus Demogorgon, how you can defeat and survive it. I'm doing this because, as we all know, well, if you're a fan, or maybe not, Season 4 is finally out, and I can't wait to see it. I'm going to be doing a marathon with my cousin. That's what we usually do. My cousin was the one who got me into it. Season 3 came out in July of, what, 2019? It's 2022? We've been waiting patiently. But it's finally here. Can't wait to see it when it comes out. So in honor of that, we're going to see how we can defeat and survive it, and maybe it would have some hints as to what the kids will probably be doing in season 4. See how they finally defeat it, if this is even the last season at all. I don't know if it's the last season.
So, you've been having trouble sleeping lately, and in response, your doctor suggests that you try out a sensory deprivation tank. Meant to help calm and soothe people, these metal cylinders suspend the individual inside a tank full of warm water, while blocking out all light and noise from the outside world. As you feel yourself relaxing in your small cocoon of oblivion, your mind starts to wander. At first, you think about your life and the world around you, as you often do when idly daydreaming. But suddenly you feel your thoughts turn
Not when I'm
to
outside.
somewhere else. In your mind's eye, you see a new
Upside
place, a
down.
world of shadows lit up by a deep midnight bluish haze. Suddenly you realize that you're not just daydreaming about this place, you're physically there. But wait, there's something else there with you just ahead. A strange humanoid creature that seems to be eating something. Gasping in surprise, the creature spins around, and you see its head open up like a flower petal. The
I
horror
know,
of it
right?
sends your mind
I thought of a flower petal too. It's a weird analogy, but it is a flower petal. It does give you that.
reeling back into our world. Yet as you clamber out of your sensory deprivation chamber, you look up and see a rift on the wall before you. An
How's he half naked?
interdimensional tear linking our world and this strange alien world full of monsters. And standing there in the rift is the creature you thought was nothing more than a bad dream. Hello and welcome to another episode of the infographic shows You Versus. Today, we're pitting you up against the monster from the realm of nightmares, the Demogorgon. So you've awakened latent psychic powers and accidentally tore a hole in space-time, dragging through it an interdimensional horror, hell-bent on feasting on your flesh. How are you going to get out of this jam? As usual, we've got your back, but first, to defeat your enemy, you must know him, or her, or it. We're not really up to date on our interdimensional monster biology. The Demogorgon is a creature accidentally brought into our world after a series of government experiments designed to tap into the psychic abilities of young children went horribly wrong. A native of the dimension known simply as the Upside Down. We actually know very little about the Demogorgon or its home plane of existence. It's believed,
hopefully, I mean, from what we saw on the season 4 trailer, hopefully we'll get some more of that
the Demogorgon reproduces much in the same way as a xenomorph, by implanting larvae into living hosts. But it's just as possible that the Demogorgon reproduces by laying eggs, and merely brings back living prey to be consumed by its spawn. What is known about the creature is that it's a fierce predator with an incredibly well-developed sense of smell. Compared to a shark, its olfactory powers border on what we would consider supernatural, able to detect...
It is supernatural, so...
spilled blood from miles away. Perhaps its power originates...
Oh my god, just imagine...
natural, able to detect spilled blood.
Imagine seeing that thing as the Titanic is going down, and you're in those boats and you see that disgusting creature.
From miles away. Perhaps its power originates in its ability to move between dimensions though, as its senses operate in a fashion that's completely alien to us. As mentioned, the Demogorgon does have the ability to move between dimensions, though the act appears to require a huge amount of energy and may possibly temporarily weaken it. As visitors to the Upside Down have noted, its home dimension and ours seem to slightly overlap, almost like the way you can lay two sheets of paper on top of each other
or
and
superimpose
see part of the bottom sheet through the top sheet. This means that general geographic features of our world are present as well in the Upside Down, and sounds also carry over from our dimension to the Demogorgon's dimension. With its ability to seemingly travel between dimensions at will, it's unclear why the Demogorgon never visited our world prior to 1983, as surely it would have been aware of our existence. Perhaps the Demogorgon showed no interest until initial contact was made by accident, or perhaps the Stranger Things writing staff overlooked an interdimensional portal-sized plot hole in their scripts. The Demogorgon is not just a formidable predator.
No, but the portal opened because they were doing those inappropriate tests, so if that's the first time that they were doing that, then it makes sense that it's the first time that we've seen them. They probably, I mean, because the two worlds are pretty much on top of each other, I think they've known about our existence and probably, I don't really remember much about how the two worlds are sharing time and space, but it makes sense that if they were aware of us in their own world, then I mean, still, like the fact that they were doing those experiments at that particular time and opening up the portal for the first, maybe this is the first time, maybe in season one it was the first time that they ever opened up a portal for them to get through. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen season one.
With a keen sense of smell, it also has a small talent for some low-level kinetics. While you won't have to worry about dodging furniture being tossed at you from across the room, you should be aware of its ability to manipulate small objects with his mind.
They
However,
can?
luckily for you, the Demogorgon is definitely one of the least intelligent enemies we've pitted you up against. Preferring to use brute force to navigate obstacles, its hide is comparable to that of an elephant's, making it able to shrug off most small-caliber weapons fire with little effect. The Demogorgon is also extremely physically resilient even when wounded, and if given a chance, it will regenerate from even catastrophic amounts of damage in a very short time. It's unknown if the Demogorgon possesses this ability naturally or if perhaps there is an unknown property about the Upside Down that works to preserve and even regenerate life. Individuals trapped in the Upside Down have been known to survive for up to a week with no food and water, and thus it may be that the Demogorgon simply returns to the Upside Down where it heals at a greatly accelerated rate due to the ambient properties of the realm.
Right,
this
exactly.
is of course pure speculation, and it may simply possess incredible regenerative properties. If it is indeed able to somehow store enough energy to tear a hole between dimensions inside of its body, then it's not impossible to believe that it's also able to store enough chemical energy to kickstart a biological regenerative process. This tells me that the Demogorgon is going to need to feed immediately after regenerating huge amounts of physical damage, which is going to make it even more dangerous. So what we're saying is that if you start a fight against the Demogorgon, you best finish it.
You sure should.
Factory sense, an incredibly resilient body, and the ability to regenerate. This is already a formidable foe. Yet, as our friend Billy Mays would say, but wait, there's more! The Demogorgon doesn't just have the ability to move between dimensions, it seems to be able to do so even
Not
while
Rick and
hunting,
Morty.
making it an ambush master. This means it can literally jump out at you from nowhere. So you're gonna have to keep your head on a swivel. Luckily though, the Demogorgon does display the same predatory instincts as many of Earth's hunters, and prefers to ambush prey that's unaware. So stay out of dimly lit corners and you should be fine. Also, like
I mean, stay out of dimly lit corners anyway.
ambush hunters, the Demogorgon seems hesitant to charge straight at prey that's aware of its presence. This is similar to many sharks, which will not attempt to tackle prey unless they can ambush it. So how are you going to defeat this thing? First things first, choose your battlefield, or in this case, design it. As mentioned, the Demogorgon isn't particularly intelligent, and seems to operate on
But you just said it can come at you from anywhere, any point in space that you're at. So how do you just plan that out?
little more than predatory instinct. Its super smell sense gives it a huge advantage, except we're going to use it against it. You're going to want to pick a nice, well-lit location, such as a school gymnasium to make your stand in. The overhead lighting and large open space will discourage the Demogorgon from trying to use its ability to travel between dimensions and ambush you, something it only seems to want to do when it's sure it'll be able to get the drop on unwary prey. Next, get some full body-length mirrors, a lot of them. We're talking at least 2 to 3 dozen.
Wow.
You're going to be setting these up around the room in groups of 3s so that they can lean against each other and cover each other's non-reflective backsides. Along the edges of each mirror, you're going to rub some of your own blood, and with so many mirrors, that's going to take a bit of bleeding on your behalf. But hey, no pain,
fake blood.
no
Why would
gain.
they censor
Or in this case,
animated
no pain,
blood?
you get eaten by an interdimensional monster. Luckily for you though, the Demogorgon's sense of smell is so acute that just a small amount of blood will be enough. As we mentioned, the Demogorgon is not particularly intelligent, and it's thought that its sense of smell is its primary sense, with weak eyesight. The perpetual twilight nature of its home realm in the Upside Down is also a strong indication that this beast may have evolved to rely less on sight and more on its other senses to navigate the darkness. No different than many cave-dwelling species. The goal of
Oh, now that I think about it, where even are its eyes? When it opens up, when its head opens up into that flower-like, when his head opens up into a flower, where are his eyes? I'm just thinking about this. How am I just thinking about this just now?
Your mirrors is going to be to throw your reflections around the room, thereby confusing its already weak sense of sight and confusing its sense of smell with all the blood you've spread around. Not being particularly intelligent, the Demogorgon should throw itself at the nearest reflection, working its way to the real you by process of elimination. Your mirror trap has bought you some time, but how do you down a
That's all
creature
it
that
is.
can take a full 30-round magazine from an M16 and keep on coming? When it comes to tackling supernatural, demonic, alien, or interdimensional threats, we here at the Infographics Show have one adage: problem solving through superior firepower. And when bad things go bump in the night, we have just the tool to bump this particular baddie right back. An experimental version of the famous Barrett 50 caliber anti-material rifle. The Barrett
I'm sorry, what?
XM109 was developed at the request of the US military, which saw a need for its marksmen to defeat ever more formidable armored vehicles. In response, the Barrett company pulled out all the stops in the development of the XM109, which was specifically made to chamber the XM1049 25mm high explosive round, capable of penetrating several inches of composite armor. The XM109 can stop a lightly armored vehicle such as an infantry fighting vehicle out to a range of 1.2 miles.
Oh,
At a
okay.
range of just a few
That's
hundred feet
effective.
though, the XM109's 25mm explosive round will penetrate the Demogorgon's tough hide and then trigger the dual
That's true.
explosive, turning your interdimensional attacker into nothing more than a rapidly evaporating mist. You better make that first shot count though, as you won't get many more.
Yeah.
One of the main drawbacks of the XM109, and the reason it wasn't approved for military use, was the massive recoil produced by the rifle, with operators
Ooh.
sustaining shoulder injuries after just a few shots. So whatever you do, don't miss. But also because the moment you get that first shot off, the Demogorgon and everything within a half-mile radius is going to know exactly where you are. And once that happens, well, the
That's
best
true.
we can do is recommend some nice funeral arrangements. How would you defeat the Demogorgon? Is there such a thing as too much firepower when fighting interdimensional monsters? Let us know in the comments.
That depends. I'm not good with gun jargon, so I have no idea what they just finished talking about. I just have to rewatch it in order to find out what I. First of all, how much does that even? How much does this weaponry cost? I mean, it's military, so it's not cheap. Okay, let's recap what they said. They said, go to a gymnasium, have the lights on, grab a bunch of mirrors, wipe your blood on it. What else you saying? Oh yeah, and then take a Barrett 109, whatever that gun was, and shoot it. But make sure you make that shot count. But that's true with any supernatural creature. I mean that's if you're lucky to get a shot anyway. We'll see if they utilize these methods in season 4. Either way, I'm excited to see how they're going to fight these Demogorgons and get down to it once and for all, if this is even the last season. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.